Peace and love, everybody. It's Royce Fletcher Thomason back for another Sunday Hope and Healing session, where we utilize Transcending the Matrix, which is a methodology of alternative healing, spiritual healing, and actually helps to bring about life transformations in various areas of a person's life. Not only medical miracles, but also transformation in other areas of life, and a profound pathway for people who are practitioners of this work to actually experience really profound next level spiritual growth, development, and unfoldment. I'm Royce Fletcher Thomason, the developer of this methodology, and I'm just checking in briefly today from California. I'm actually at my uncle's house, and you may hear background noise. There's a game on. It's 10 a.m. here. We go live at 1 o'clock on Sundays. But I wanted to check in for a little bit. I want to say hello to everybody who's actually live with us today. If you could just uh, drop in the comments a quick hello. We always like to know who's with us. But today's Sunday, the 17th of September, and it is less than 2 weeks before the celebration of 20 years of Transcending the Matrix. We've been doing this work. Ronnie Hall, my mother is in the space. Good to see you, mother. And it will be 20 years of Transcending the Matrix since our first Transcending the Matrix class that took place in September of 2003. And we're really looking forward to this 20-year celebration that's coming up, as well as the class that's coming up on September 29th, 2023. That's 29th through October 1st. It's a 3-day intensive training. By the end of day 2, you will be able to help a person who's in pain to become free of that pain, even if they're not in the same part of the world as you. um, really wonderful things that happen with this methodology. We initially started doing these hope and healing sessions initially on Wednesday at the onset of the pandemic. And we've continued. We end up switching it to Sunday once things started opening up and people started going back to work in person. We switched it to Sundays, which we've been doing for the last couple years now. But whatever way it goes, I want to say just real briefly, and we're not going to do a full session today, but I want to say real briefly to anyone and everyone who's out there, I want to encourage you to be open to possibilities, to develop a miracle-minded mindset. Miracles don't happen for the people who are in need in miracles. Miracles happen for people who are in alignment with miracles, people who are open to the possibility of them, people who claim them and receive them as part of their experience, even before they take place. Through this methodology of Transcending the Matrix, I've seen miracle after miracle take place in what's referred to as a medical miracle. And we've seen people have experienced things that we consider to be miracles because we can't see how it possibly would have happened. There isn't maybe much of an explanation for. Terry Vassar, my brother, good to see you today. I hope that life is treating you well, and I'm sending a bunch of love in your direction. Appreciate the work that you're doing. But we refer to things that we might not be able to readily explain as miracles, like a tumor disappearing or bone, spontaneously, healing. A lot of different things happening. We refer to as miracles from a medical standpoint. Things coming out of nowhere, opening up financially, we might consider to be medical miracles. Curly Conscious King, good to see you today. Excuse me, we might consider to be financial miracles. Relationships being restored that seemed hopeless. We might consider those to be miracles as well. And really, something that I've said before, I'll continue saying it. To me, really, the ultimate miracle is a changed heart. And We do this work of transcending the matrix out of a spirit of compassion. There have been so many people I've been blessed to be a vessel of healing for. Ultimately, God is the healer, but I'm thankful that I get to be a blessing of that healing, as well as other people who are practitioners of this work get to be a vessel of that healing. And yes, a person who's been in chronic pain for decades can become free of that pain through this work. Yes, a person who's dealing with a condition that the doctors, may kind of write off, can be, you know, in a position to experience something very profound taking place that the doctors have no medical explanation for. There are a lot of profound things that I've been blessed to see happen, and I've been blessed to participate in happening, as have uh, those people who are transcending the matrix practitioners who utilize this work themselves. And as profound as those things aren't really the true miracles. I say that those things are signs and wonders. They're things to get people's attention to hear an even greater message. And that greater message is one of love, one of unity, one of connection, one uh, that actually helps to foster a sense of connection with people who might look different than you, who might believe differently than you, who might uh, have a lot of different things in their background than you have in yours. And there are all these things that we use to separate ourselves from each other, to divide ourselves from each other, to be at each other instead of with each other. I should have said at each other instead of with each other. Dr. Robert Davis, who was my biology professor my first semester in college, I remembered hearing him once say that a species requires diversity to exist. It is in the infinite wisdom of God that God made different people speak different languages, look differently, eat different types of food, have different mindsets and mentalities. It is part of the infinite wisdom of God that we have these different uniquenesses. And there are people who we might not necessarily be able to relate to as easily based on whatever our cultural background is, or how we might choose to vote, or uh, or our particular belief system, or even how we might love. A lot of different things we use to separate ourselves, whether it's age or gender or whatever the case might be. But in the reality of things, we're all one. And this is the messaging of transcending the matrix. When a person who might look a certain way, who might speak a certain way, who might worship a certain way in this part of the world is able to be a vessel manifesting healing with this person who all of those things are totally different from. And they might generally be at odds with each other based on those belief systems or ideologies or whatever the case might be. But through the spirit of love, this person over here being a vessel of healing for this person over here, and some type of medical miracle taking place as a function of a connection of the heart and connection of the spirit that transcends all of the things that we utilize in our thinking, in our very, very limited thinking, to separate us from one another. And we do that separation thing out of a sense of fear, which is really just false evidence that appears real. Doesn't mean it is real, it just appears real. Kind of like if you were to see a stick on the ground and think it's a snake. Well, it may look like a snake from a distance, but when you get close up on it, you realize, oh, this isn't something that actually would cause me harm. In a similar way, when we get really close to the essence of who it is that we are, we're able to see more clearly the essence of who it is that other people are as well. And we're able to remove those barriers, remove those things that keep us at odds with one another, and be able to see a person beyond whatever their attitude might be, beyond their differences, whatever those differences might be. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't see differences. We absolutely should see differences. there's things in other people's experience that is unique to them that has shaped who it is that they are. And I think it's important to honor what a person's journey is, what a person's life experience has been, even though their lived experience may be very different than yours. So it's okay to see color. It's okay to see gender. It's okay to see religion. It's okay to see these different things, see it, acknowledge it as being a part of who that person is, and love them in the presence of that, right? In the reality, there are a lot of areas that make us individually unique, or even uh, set us apart in some different ways as one group versus another. And those things are certainly to be celebrated. And at the same time, even though we might not have things as in common with some of our brothers and sisters in creation, we're still one with them if we can make room for that. That's the greater truth, the truth that goes beyond the appearances, beyond what things seem like. And when we get to that point, we're able to operate from a much less fear-minded standpoint that activates our amygdala and activates our lower nature and causes us to be something other than who it is that we were really ultimately created by God to be. And so we end up fighting against our brother and our sister in creation, maybe in different groups or what have you, when in reality, we don't realize that in some way we're actually fighting against our own selves, fighting against our own sense of humanity without even recognizing it. And so this work is really a mission of love. It's really a mission of peace. It's really a mission of unity. That's what my goal is, to empower people to be the fullness of who it is that we were created to be. And the way you really know, I've said this before, the way that you really know yourself to be the light is when you get to the point where the light is all that you see. You can see a person who might have some different issues going on, and you can recognize their issues, but you don't identify their beingness with their issues. You don't have to return hate for hate because you recognize that who they are is not hate. They may have some stuff that's going on where things in their brain aren't firing properly that causes them to behave in such a way or to be able to think in such a way. And if you can see beyond their issues, to see the wholeness of them, the way that God sees beyond your issues, and believe it or not, you've got some. It might be easier for you to see other people's issues than your own sometimes, but we've all got some. We're all working through this process of this thing that we call life as human beings on planet Earth. And none of us get it 100% right 100% of the time. And none of us get it wrong 100% of the time either, right? And so I said I'm going to be brief today, and I will. Oh, greetings to you, brother. Good to see you in the space today. I want to say to all of us today that living inside of you is the essence of God, because the essence of who you are, your essence is God. All of the properties of God exist within you. You might not experience life that way, but the more you align yourself with your ultimate spiritual essence, the more you identify yourself with your spiritual beingness, the more you come to demonstrate. I'm a minister. I've come to realize during this journey that it's not always about doing the right thing in the eyes of people. It's certainly not about judging people for where they fall short, because you fall short too. We all do. But it's about doing your absolute best to be the most wonderful version of yourself. giving yourself grace for those times that you don't, and doing the same for everybody else. Holding a sacred space within your heart for other people to be the best versions of themselves, extending grace for those areas where they fall short too, even though you may need to establish some healthy boundaries because you, as a divine being, don't deserve to be treated a certain way. And no, you should not tolerate that, but still have a generous place in your heart to behold the divinity within another person. All right. So like I said, I was just going to pop on briefly today. I'm out of town. I've got a bunch of relatives that are right behind me watching a football game. It's kind of weird for a football game to be on at 10 o'clock in the morning, at least from my normal experience, because I'm normally multiple time zones ahead. But my apologies if it got distracting with the sounds and the people cheering for the game that's going on in the room right behind me. But again, as always, I'm sending out a bunch of peace and love in your direction. For anybody who's actually interested in participating in this upcoming Transcending the Matrix class, I'm going to pull up a banner. For anybody who's interested in participating, reach out to me at Royce Fletcher Thomason on either on either Instagram or on Facebook. Let me know that you're interested in taking the class. Do it soon because it's taking place in less than 2 weeks, and I'll need to mail you out some materials and such. All right. This is a wonderful work. I promise you it will be a life-changing experience. It is guaranteed to be a life-changing experience. So if you're interested, like I said, reach out to me via direct message, either on Facebook or Instagram at Royce Fletcher Thomason. And yeah, I love sharing this work. Curly Conscious King. Thank you, sir. Well, I will be traveling back home late tonight since I'm moving into a time zone that's 3 hours ahead. I'll be leaving here tonight, but arriving back home technically early tomorrow morning. But I pray that really wonderful things happen for you all, for all of you all who are tuned in, and for everybody who might come to your mind even in this moment right now. I pray that a most beautiful, most profound peace might rest upon you. That a sweet fragrance might fill your space, your environment, wherever you go. That fragrance, the fragrance of grace, the fragrance of God's favor, and bountiful, bright blessings, infinitely descending upon everywhere that you go, so that your cup is filled to the point of running over and spilling on everyone that you come in contact with, and that a drop of heaven is left behind wherever you go. May grace and peace be yours. Thank you, God, for this gift of your divine love. And I affirm it's a done deal. Ashe, amen. And may you all have a really wonderful rest of your day. I'm going to go back in and stop being a buffet for the mosquitoes. But I'm really looking forward to this class that's coming up. I'm really looking forward to being with you all again. I know last week even meant a lot of transition. So we've had a couple weeks in a row where we've not done the regular full broadcast. And I think we've only done like 2 broadcasts in the last couple months, going back to the early part of July, where I was actually broadcasting from home in a stationary place. But again, peace and love to all of you all, and we'll catch you next time.